Okay. So today we're going to read chapter 80 in the Devi book, and that is on 491 if anybody wants to read along. So Narayana said, would you hear of the way of Bhuta Shuti, the purifying of the elements? Indeed, I would, my lord. First, the sadhak conceives of the kundalini rising up through the susumna nadi in the spine from the muladhara to the brahma andra chakra. He meditates upon the Hamsa mantra and thinks of his soul, his jivatman, as being in union with the infinite soul, the Brahman. He conceives a square yantra from his legs to his knees with a vajra, a thunderbolt, in it. This square becomes the earth, golden and signified by the lam, the bija mantra of Bhumi. Then from his knees to his navel, he conceives a white half moon with two great lotuses at either point. This is the realm of water, and Vam is its bija mantra. Then from his navel to his heart, he conceives a triangle with the sacred swastika as its three corners. This is the red realm of fire, and Ram is its beach mantra. Then from the heart to the point between the eyebrows is a realm of six bindus, smoky maroon, the realm of air, its bija mantra, Yam. Finally, from the eyebrows to the crown of the head, the ethereal realm, the Akasa Mandala, perfectly clear and lucid, whom is its beach mantra. Thus the sadhaka imagines the earth, which came from water, dissolved in water. He thinks of water dissolved in fire, fire in air, air in its cause, the subtle ether. He thinks of akasa dissolved in ahamkara, ego, which is the source of the ether, and of ahamkara vanishing into mahatattva, the great principle. And mahatattva absorbs in prakriti, the eternal female. And finally, prakriti absorbs in the beginningless Brahman, the supreme self. Now the sadhak thinks of himself as only that final knowledge, the Brahma Jnana. From that height, he then considers the Papa Purusha, the sinful man, who is the size of a thumb and dwells in the left side of his abdomen. This creature's head appears as the sin of Brahmahatya, which is killing a Brahmin. His arms appear as thieves, his heart as being drunk with wine, his genitals as ravishing his guru's wife, while all his body as being sin embodied, lust, greed, darkness, and rage. The Papapurusha holds all sorts of macabre weapons and is suffused with wrath, and his head bent low like a beast, and his entire body horrendous. The sadhak, his consciousness lofty, draws a deep breath through his left nostril, chanting the Vam Bija mantra of air, and fills his whole body with that prana. He holds that prana in kumbhaka, purifying the Papa Purusha with a hurricane. Then he chants Ram, the beach mantra of fire, and sets searing flames along the breath of air. He burns the Papa Purusha to ashes, then exhales those ashes through his right nostril. Then he conceives of the ashes of the man, embodying every sin as rolled into a ball with the beach mantra of water. the pale nectar of the moon. He conceives of this ball as being transformed into a golden egg by chanting Lum, the Bhumi mantra of the earth. Now he intones Hum, the Bij mantra of Akasa, and imagines himself as being entirely pure and his body clear as crystal. He creates himself again, limb by limb, from his precious thought and breath. He creates afresh the elements, the bhutas from Brahma down, Akasa, Vayu, Agni, Jala, and Bhumi, and locates them in their places. Then, with the mantra Soham, he fetches back the Jivatma from the Paramatman and places the Jivatma in his heart. The Kundalini is also returned to the sacred chakra when the Jivatma, purified by its union with the Paramatma, has been returned to the heart's chamber. The sadhaka now meditates upon the Parashakti. In a great boat on an interminable ocean, there is a crimson lotus. Upon this lotus, the Parashakti sits. She has 6 hands, holding a trishul, arrows made of sugar cane, a noose, a goad, 5 other astras, and a skull filled with blood. She has 3 eyes and perfect breast. Her body is like the rising sun. May she grant us joy. As he conceives of and meditates upon the Parashakti, the sadhak applies holy ash to his body. Siravratra is applying ashes to the forehead. It was by Sivaratra that Brahma and the Devas became the gods they are. Why the Trimurti have performed Siravratra. The Vatra of ashes is called Siravratra in the first part of the Atharva Veda. Elsewhere, it is also called Shiva Vratra, Pasupata Vratra, and by other names. The Shiva Vatra, marking the brow with holy ash and making the intelligence firm, is a ritual that burns up sin, turns a whole forest of sins to ashes. The Atharva Sutta says, fire is ash, water is ash, earth and air are ash, akasa is ash, and so is all the unmanifest universe. This mantra is repeated as the body is smeared with holy ash during the 3 Sandhya pujas. The Lord hides within the ash, so every seva wears them as blessed adornment and benediction. The best ashes are from a pure Virajagni. Ashes from other common fires are lesser in both their blessedness and their power. The time of the Viraja fire sacrifice is on the full moon night of Chitra Nakshatra. The Brahmana marks his brow with the curved tripundra of holy Bhasma. Bhasma means ash. The first line of every tripundra is Brahma, the second is Vishnu, and the third highest line is Mahadeva. The forehead where the Bhasma is laid is the seat of Ishvara. Brahma dwells in the head. The ears are where the Ashvini Devas sit, and Ganesh is on the neck. Only Brahmins must use the Tripundra with a mantra. The other castes and the uninitiated wear Bhasma on their foreheads, not on all their body, and they do so without a mantra. The rishis who smear themselves from head to toe with the sacred ash of burnt cow dung that is caught before it falls to the ground from the purest Kapila cows call this smearing the Agni Sna, the bath of fire. They recite a different mantra for every part of the body that is smeared. Those who wear Rudraksha and Tripundra with perfection attain moksha. For the Bhasma, they wear away the for the Bhasma they wear burns away their sins of every life and at last makes them entirely pure. Desire leaves them like a spirit does a corpse, and their lives shine forth with knowledge and bliss. All the devas and the devis anoint themselves with bhasma every day. So also the yakshas, the gandharvas, the rakshasas, siddhas, vidyadharas, and rishis. Tripunda belongs to Shiva, and the man who would seduce the Devi Mukti Tripundra, the Devi Mukti, must have the jewel of the Shiva Lingam and the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. Why he who uses Bhasma inherits the blessing of studying the Vedas, the Shrutis, and the Puranas, and performing great yagyas, ashvamedas, and rajasuras of visiting the holiest places, holiest tirthas. It is even said that he who wears the tripundra has bola nata under control, be he a brahmana or a chandala. O Narada, there is no mantra higher than the Shiva mantra Om Namah Shivaya, and there is no god higher than Mahadeva Shiva. There is no worship greater than the worship of Shiva, and there is no tirtha greater than Shiva's bhasma. For this bhasma is no common thing. O Muni, it is truly the retas, the semen of Agni, and has the nature of the Lord Rudra himself. He who wears the sacred bhasma even has what the Lord Brahma wrote on his head and the palms of his hands erased, because when Shiva himself first put this bhasma on, he chanted the Sadhyo Jata, the five primeval mantras, and blessed the holy bhasma forever. There's no ablution holier than the bath of ashes, for the very bonds of nature, of pleasure and pain, are burnt away by the bhasma snana. Bathing in water cleans the body. Bathing in ashes purifies the very spirit. The yati who bathes in ashes is called a basmanishta, and an atmanishta and bhutas, pritas, pishakas, and rakshasas, and dread diseases of every kind flee at the very approach of such a man. Because sacred ashes reveal the Brahma Jnana, they are called basati, basita. Because they burn sins away, they are called bhasma. Because bhasma strengthens the eight subtle cities of anima, ma'ima, and the others, it is called vibhuti. Oh, there you go, Annie.
Uh-huh.
Called vibhuti. Because it protects the man who wears it, it is called raksha. So let the wise man be far keener to gather the ashes born of Agni than he is to gather gold and jewels. You know the famous story of how the great Shiva Rishi Durvasa peered down into the dreadful hell, Kumbhipaka, when he heard the piteous groaning of the sinners who were being tormented there by Yamaraja's horrible servants. Rishi Durvasa happened to be wearing Tripundra and Bhasma upon his person, and at once, O Narada, that most terrible Naraka was transformed into the sweetest place, and its sins all made ashes. They began to live in ecstasy that exceeded the delights of the Devaloka. All the gods came there in wonder. Then Shiva and Parvati arrived there to explain the mystery. Shiva said, laughing, a particle of the bhasma that Durvasa wore on his brow was flown into the city of the sinners. That shred of ash set the sinners free. A linga said and yoni were installed in that once infernal city, and it was transformed from a naraka into a blessed tirtha. Finally, the sinners rose to Kailash in a splendid vimana and dwell there still with Lord Shiva, and even today they are known as Bhadras. Since that day, the Devas are careful that no Saiva goes anywhere near any Naraka or even peers into one. And you know, Muni, that even at Shiva's bhaktas, as Shiva's bhaktas were the Tripunda horizontally across their brows, the Vaishnavas wear Urdpundra vertically on theirs, said the immortal Rishi Narayan to an avid Narada upon the blessed mountain. Narada was quiet for a while, absorbing all he had heard. Then he asked, Munivara, Lord, tell me now about Sandhya Upasana and how the Devi Gayatri is worshipped during the three twilights of the day. Vyasa told the king, the great sutta says to the rishis in the six clans in the Naimisa Vana, which once Brahma himself sanctified for Puranic revelations. Boli Baba Ki Jai.
Mm.
So, sounds pretty powerful.
So the different ashes are from the cow dung and then from the fire ceremony itself.
It sounds as if ash is called different things, and then there's different. There's different levels of how effective it is. So apparently the one that you get right from the cow dung and you wrap it in leaves and you dry it and then you burn it. Or I guess the one, I mean, they're talking also about the ash you can get from somebody's fire that they're cooking their food on and different things like that. It's explained more in the Devi Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called vibhuti at certain occasions. So I guess I think they say the best ash is coming from the sacred yagya, from the fire ceremony.
Okay.
So I guess that's very powerful for us to use. I hadn't read that part about the vibhuti yet, so that's another.
Mm-hmm.
So I wear it every day. I just took it off. Maybe I should be getting more on. I mean, we just put a dot on like we do and put it here for the throat chakra too, so that we're speaking mantras all the time. So
Good point.
So next week we'll talk about Gayatri, I guess. We'll read about Gayatri, so I'll see how I can make that all work. Any more questions or thoughts? I will turn off the recording.